What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Syrup, C-Zar. It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Maple today, Maple Finance. Syrup is the token. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, okay? It is the third day of September, and here we are at about 49.4 cents right now. 4 days, 8 hours left in this week. It's a beautiful week, more like 4 days, 7 hours left, right? We've almost, look here, I'll prove it. We got the daily time frame. 7 hours, 6 minutes left. It's a beautiful week. It's a beautiful day. We're up about 8% on the day. It's nice to see. I am growing more and more confident that we have found our low. I forget when the last time we talked about syrup was. It was probably about a week ago, but we were calling for this area to be the low in itself. Syrup is one of like two coins that over the past week that I've actually called for the low to be in on, and I'm pretty confident that it is. Typically, whenever everything's moving down, this thing just seems to be moving up. When everything else is moving up, it takes its turn. So if we're in a dry spell, if we're in a point in the markets where things are looking like they're going to consolidate for a little while, it might be best to hold some syrup. With that being said, though, we have been consolidating since June, really since the end of June here, finding your lows down here. It is possible that we could go lower, but I'm not going to call for that, right? Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but every time I call for this thing to go lower, it goes higher. So we're not going to do that here. Maybe I should, just for the people. No, but I do think it's going to go higher. It is taking out this high here. I think that that's nice. That's pretty significant in itself. That really does help validate this as a low. But what would really validate this area as a low is taking out that high. You've got this, and it's kind of an odd shape to it, but we've got this Adam and Eve look about us, don't we? And it's only completed once we get above this high. So the goal right now, you're at 49.1 cents. The goal would be to get above 53.35 cents, okay? 5335. Get above there. Get above there, and if and when you do, you should be thinking about new all-time highs, right? New all-time highs are coming. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame. We'll come back to talk about where you're going to go for the new all-time highs in just a moment. But I want to look at the 1 hour time frame first, and then we'll zoom out from there, okay? And while we're doing that, I'm actually going to type in Maple MPL USD. We're going to pull this one up just because it has more historical data and it's going to load. So instead of, we're going to use that when we're talking about new all-time highs, and I'll go over why in a moment. But looking at the 1 hour time frame here, RSI is overbought, topping off a little bit, looking like you want to come down. Sure, yeah. Stochastics have been pretty overbought, very bullish overall. The MACD is also crossed above the zero, very bullish across all accounts. So I like to see it. Maybe you cool down a little bit. You come down to like 46 cents. You're at 49 cents now, so nothing dramatic. Less than 10% drop, but something to imply the volatility, or that would imply a little volatility. Maybe you come down, you just find a higher low at about 48 cents, 47.8 cents, something like that. Looks good though. Looks good. I wouldn't be surprised if you found turbulence right here. A little bit of turbulence, and you're right at this prior area of resistance. So why wouldn't you? The MACD bouncing right off the zero. This is a perfect reaction. That's exactly what you want to see. Very bullish, my friends. Stochastics in the overbought zone, exactly what you want to see. 3 hours left in this 4 hour candle. Like I said, a little bit of turbulence here on the 1 hour, but maybe by the end of this 4 hour, you come back up and you close it green or somewhat neutral. I doubt that you get below. I doubt that you get below 46 cents from here. I would think that you do continue to run, okay? Maybe for the rest of the day you chill. Maybe just for a couple hours you chill, and then you come up and you start pumping through the rest of the day. I don't know, but you've definitely got more in you one way or another. If we're looking at this from a high to a low, not the actual low, but the high to low of this move, not the fake out low, okay? You're above your golden ratio, finding resistance at the 786. Come down, find support at the golden ratio. It's perfect. 47.3 cents, do that, then move up. Once you get above 51.4 cents, it's game on, right? 53.3 cents, that validates this as a low, absolutely. And then we're thinking about 58 cents to 64 cents, and really we're not stopping there. We're thinking about new all-time highs, and this thing will probably see new all-time highs in a matter of days at this point, if not sometime next week. Isn't that the all-time high? Yeah, that is the all-time high. But it's technically not. Right, it's technically not, and that's why we have the other chart being pulled up here. Everything looks good on these indicators. Now let's go out to the daily time frame. So the daily RSI is phenomenal. This is a very rare occurrence that happens, but it does happen in bullish circumstances, okay? Whenever you get a downtrend, typically, and especially on the daily time frame, man, when you get a downtrend, lower lows, lower highs, typically your downtrends don't end until you're in the oversold zone. Typically they end with some bullish divergence too. It's bullish enough whenever your downtrend ends without bullish divergence, when you just break out. It's bullish enough when that happens. But it's even more bullish. It's the most bullish, I should say, when you turn that downtrend into a sideways trend. You don't even actually get into the oversold zone, and then you substitute it for an upward sloping trend, which I think we're about to do. You have broken out of your downtrend. I hope it's abundantly clear as to like where that would have been. Right, let's just draw a line here. You broke out of it. You back tested it for support. You look good. You can come back down a little bit, find support at the 50, but you'd still get a higher low. You'd still be forming an uptrend here. So overall, sorry. Overall, you're in a very bullish posturing here, you guys. This is phenomenal. when you're getting overbought to this extent, but you can't even get oversold, you're having a hard enough time getting below the 40. Very, very bullish results come from that. And I think that you're starting to see the bulls take back over, right? Things are definitely turning a tide here. You look very, very positive. The daily MACD is the one thing that is a bit of a concern. It's not even concerning, but it's the one thing that's holding you up at this point. You found resistance here before, resistance here before. You're in that area now. Keep going. Get the orange line to cross above the zero. You do that, bro. The last time you did that, what'd you do? We gotta pull up the map here. It's phenomenal. Let's see. You saw a move the last time you did that over here. So it was right here. You saw a move essentially from that low at 14 cents all the way up to 60 something cents, right? About 60, 64 cents at your high. So crazy growth in a very short amount of time too. That was from April 30th to June 28th. So that was like 2 months. You did quite the amount of growth there. We're going to look at the MPL chart, right? This chart stopped being used back on April 30th, I'm pretty sure, of this year, because they transferred MPL, they Maple MPL, that token merged into it, migrated into the syrup token at a 1 to 100 rate. So one of these coins, $13.62, became worth 100 of these coins at a 100 to 1 rate, so, or a 1 to 100 rate. So essentially, if this is 13.62 here, that would have been 13.6 cents for syrup. Does that make sense? Right? Whenever this happened, syrup was worth 13.6 cents. 13, and that's so like all the way down here. Anyways, so if syrup's up here at 50 cents, essentially, that would mean that this would be at $50 right now, right? If it was still a live chart, but it's not. So we're going to use this because this is actually, if we're looking at this chart, we're going on the weekly time frame. The all-time history only dates back to about November of 2024. The migration happened in April of this year, but the token syrup came out well before then, right? And you were able to transfer your tokens. They gave you so much time. If you were holding Maple and you didn't transfer into syrup, like what were you doing, man? You're just like that. They gave you so much time. There's no way. There's no exception to not being switched over. Now your MPLs are worthless, right? But this is the all-time history. This is the all-time history that predates April of this year, right? We're missing the pump up to this area here, right, that we've had. But we've got the history. So the all-time high is actually all the way up here at about $68, which in translation for syrup would be at about 68 cents. So we actually double topped at our all-time high. If we take the all-time high look from Maple to the low here, the all-time low, the next target area that I would assume we go to would be at anywhere from $163, which is $1.63, to $495, which would be about $5. So $1.63 to $5 for syrup. If that doesn't make sense, I don't know how to make better sense out of it. Essentially, we're using the old chart to give a prophecy for the new chart, right? And at $1.63, that puts us right at this double golden ratio at the 2618 right there, which is also coincidentally where this high was. This is a wick. I wouldn't call this the all-time high. This is just a scam wick from the beginning. It's probably a fluke. I wouldn't count that as actual price action. It didn't exist back here. I wouldn't count it as actual price action, okay? That was just like startup craziness, weird stuff. $1.66 would be the minimum target that I would have for this by the end of this next showdown. I think 78 cents to 95 cents is a good stopping point just momentarily, but as far as the stopping point goes like this, where we stop for multiple months, several months here, I would think that we continue to grow until we're well above $1, as high as $1.66 to about $3.20, if not even higher. It is possible that we could go all the way up to $5, but that's pretty immaculate growth. I mean, from the low that we see last week all the way up to $5, I mean, it's a 12x. It can happen. It can definitely happen. And we got a low enough market cap in this thing, and it's good enough tech where that could happen. If you guys hear my baby crying, that's just the baby's crying, man. You got to deal with it. I got to deal with it. You got to deal with it, okay? $587 million market cap. A 10x from here would put us, or 12x from here would put us at like a $7 billion market cap, and that's very attainable, especially for a project like this. I really wouldn't be surprised in the least if we saw $1.63 to $5, somewhere in that area, and that is between the 2618 and this 4618 here. So anything and everything between what would essentially be a 4x, 4.3x to a 12, almost a 13x move is what we have between now and certainly by the end of the year, but potentially by the end of October, you guys. This thing, whenever it moves, it's rather tenacious. It just keeps moving up and it doesn't stop. So you've stopped now for a while. This is not a pump and dump. This is a consolidation phase. It's a very healthy consolidation phase. You're likely going to see a move that is just like what you saw here. So if we see a replica of that, you know, a mirror of this from a high to a low or a low to a high, we take that into account. We factor that in with this low here. Let's just see. Look at that. That takes us all the way up to 290, right in the heart of the zone that we were talking about, which is $1.66 to $5, right? It's literally right there, smack dab in the middle of that zone, right there at the 3618. I wouldn't be surprised at all. What is that for syrup? That is a overall 7x, almost a yeah, like a 7.5x. That's phenomenal. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I expect great things out of syrup, great things indeed. And sure, there will be volatility along the way, right? There are moments here where from a high to a low, you dropped 25%. It's not going to be without its volatility, right? From here, from a high to a low, you dropped 25% again. From here, from a high to a low, you dropped another 30% right there. It happens on your road to greatness, but you're going to go higher. There will be volatility along the way, but you are going to go higher rather consistently. So the dips are for buying. If your syrup is out on the table, every dip is for getting sticky. Get sticky. It's going to be great. We're all going to get sticky together. Hit the like button, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.